Hey guys, welcome back to Fabricating Iron and Customs. We're out here working on the Ford today. Glen's helping me out a little bit. We're about to cut this piece of pipe to, and what I want to do is get the rear end situated side to side and front and back in the middle of the fender well. And we're going to get that situated. That's basically what I was going to need him to help me do, and I'm going to go as far as I can today. So we're going to document as much of this as I can. Don't know what we'll get done, but I'm about to get these the bolts taken out of the rear end and get to make sure that we have nothing that's preventing us from setting the rear end where we want it. Once I get the rear end set left or right and front and back where it needs to be, I'll be able to set up the suspension where it needs to go. Because it won't be, the rear end won't be able to move. That'll be one thing that's locked in place on the car to make sure the rear end is in place. And when we get the suspension set up and we get it set left and right, it'll be right, if that makes any sense. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, just took and bent a piece of pipe and welded it to the frame, and I spotted it to the axle with a good heavy tack and welded it to the front of the frame on both sides. That's going to hold the axle in place for so we can so we're able to get the suspension set up. I'm about to pull the tank out. I don't think the gas will catch on fire, but it's some stinky stuff. 30-year-old gas. So we're going to get the tank out, and then I'm going to start setting up trying to get the suspension centered in the car, and we ought to be able to make the brackets to attach the front cross member today. All right, guys, we got it under here and centered in the car front and centered in the fender well where it's supposed to be, and the same distance from the frame down to the axle. I'm gonna have to set the pinion angle later when I get the engine and transmission in the car and figure out what the drive line's gonna need to be. We'll get into setting the pinion angle then. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna shoot a tack, the old fuel tank, and I'm telling you that 30-year-old gas smells wonderful. But I'm gonna take and put a nice hard tack right there so it'll be easy to get to and cut it out on both sides, and that'll keep anything from running. The tops of my U-bolts are the same distance from the outside of the axle mounting surface to the top of the U-bolt on both sides. So like I said, I'm going to blast a tack there, and then we're going to get up here and see about making whatever we're going to have to mount the front mount to the chassis. I do need to find my other bolts I have bought. This has metric bolts in it. I don't understand what they were thinking when they packaged this. The holes are 3/4. They made the bracket and they put the bolts with it. The holes are 3/4. The bolts are 16 millimeter, which is equivalent to standard 5/8. So we are a whole eighth too small on the bolt for the spring bushing and for the hole. So I've got some 3/4 bolts to go in there. I need to find those. So I'm gonna get this tacked in, and then I'm gonna find my bolts, and we're gonna come back. All right, guys, kind of lost my train of thought, my track, my place, and everything. I actually recorded another video. I want y'all to come back and watch it. I'll probably post it Wednesday about how to tell the difference between metric and standard bolts. I mean, really easy. So what I'm getting into now, I almost got ahead of myself. I'm trying to get the cross member set to go in the car. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a wedge out over here and fold the top down to where it's 10 inches from the bottom, and I'm going to take the bottom and cut it off and move it up to where a washer and a nut will clear the bottom of the car, because it's going to be even with the frame. I am going to put I'm going to probably make some like 1/4 inch skid plates that go on the bottom of the frame, you know, that'll bolt on, you know, just so it does scrape the frame, but I don't want it scraping the heads off of the bolt and, you know, cross members coming loose like that. So I'm going to get the old zip cut, and I'm going to cut a wedge here, get these folded down to 4 inches. Then I'm going to cut this off and move it up enough, and then that way we will know where we need to bolt the inside tab, or weld the inside tab on the frame that this is going to bolt to. And like I said, the reason I'm doing this is to keep the bolts from scrubbing the ground. And I want to keep this as low as possible, and, you know, not move it up so it's higher than the frame. Alright, so let me get to working on this and I'll come back. Alright guys, I've got this cut out. I just cut a notch here, and I took the top and scored it and bent it over with a hammer to get it to 4 inches right here. That way I'll just be able to run a bracket from here to the chassis, and I've cut the notch off the bottom. I'm about to, I got to remember which side is which. That goes on the other side. This goes on this side. Maybe. Yeah, this goes on this side. So I'm going to put the bolt in it, and I'm going to move it up probably to right about there. That way I've got plenty of room so the bolts don't drag the ground in case you hit something, speed bump, whatever, because we are going to be riding low. I'm going to get those made up. I'm just going to find something to create a filler piece in here. Yeah, I lost some of the shape of my holes, but, you know, we got to do what we got to do to make this piece fit in the car. The other thing we could have done was, you know, made the whole thing from scratch, but, and, you know, this was already done. This was already made. You know, who knows? We don't know what's going to happen with the next one. You know, everything on the Volkswagen is handmade, so, you know, however you feel like doing it. And I just saw this and I wanted to use this because it had the adjustable front arm mounts and everything. So I'm going to get this welded up, and we're going to get in the car and start getting right to mount this in the car. Not permanently, but bolted in. You know, it will be able to come out when we take the frame apart. We're going to tear the whole thing down, sandblast it. You know, we messed up the powder coating a little bit, but you know what, I don't care, because like I said, we're going to paint it, and the car's going to be low enough nobody's going to see it anyway. So, except for, you know, all you guys on YouTube. But anyway, let me get this done and I'll come back. Got y'all out of focus, didn't I? Certified gap welder. Alright guys, it's been a long afternoon. I'll try to move this so you can see what I got going on here. I don't know if that helps. I got the lower mounts welded to the chassis on both sides. Sorry about the noise. I've sloped these parts down. It don't need to be this high here. The floor is going to be here, but I wanted to slope this down to meet the chassis so I can start, whenever we get past the arms, I want to start sloping back down to meet the inner rocker panel, or the rocker panel, the door seal, you know, whatever your part of the world calls it. And you know, just so that this part of the floor will meet the door seal nicely. These welds will get cleaned up whenever I got the chassis apart. Like I said, this whole chassis is going to get cleaned up. All the holes will probably be filled and painted. So, you know, that's yet to come. But I still need to make the upper mounts and connect the two mounts together. I'm going to have to leave enough room for the brake lines and the fuel lines. Actually, on this car, the fuel line comes down the outside of the chassis, so maybe a consideration just to run, no, I'll probably run the brake lines on the inside of the chassis. I'll have to think about it. But I need to connect those two to give them some strength. When I get the chassis out of the car, I'll, you know, weld the bottom of these. I'll weld the bottom of these mounts to the frame on the bottom and maybe gusset it on the bottom. I think it's going to be plenty strong enough. I'm, you know, not really worried about that. But that's it. I'm going to get out here in the morning and finish making those mounts. I'm going to get this video edited so I can get it out to y'all. Look at me. I am dirty. Look at that. I got into my work today. But I'm going to get this video edited so I can have it posted, have a Sunday video. I don't think I've done a Sunday video in quite a while. And, you know, hang out with the wife a little bit this afternoon, do some spooky stuff. You know, it's Halloween. Not next weekend's Halloween, so we'll watch some werewolf movies or something later on. Anyway, like and subscribe and hang around. We're going to get this car. I want to get it rolling, get the panels put on the right side, and it's going to go back in the other building, and then we're going to paint the Mazda, paint the wife's Mazda, and after we get the Mazda painted, I'm going to get the Volkswagen back in here, and we're going to go from there. Work on the, you know, I got plenty of stuff to do with the motor on the Ford. So if I feel like working on the motor, I can work on the motor while we're working on the Volkswagen. But I'm going to work on the Volkswagen for a while because I got a lot of new subscribers and they're very interested in seeing it running. I'm interested to see it running too. But like I said, I'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a good day.